Well, we are a little more than a half hour away from the 9th launch of SpaceX's Starship. We have the countdown clock right there on your screen. Space fans have been lining up to see the rocket launch early this morning, all setting up camp at Isla Blanca Park on South Padre Island. And we're bringing you team coverage of the launch. You're getting a live look of the launch from La Padre Space Channel. Our Brian Hale standing by with weather coverage from the Zapata boat ramp. But first, we got to send it on over to our Jorge Vela, who is at Isla Blanca Park, where there's already a whole lot of people who are counting it down minute by minute. Jorge?
Hey, Derek, it definitely feels like a weekend out here. As you can see behind me, there's already a lot of people getting ready for this major launch. However, one thing people won't see this time is the booster being caught. Now, the mission of hope the weather permits for a good view. Working for you from Isla Blanca Park, I'm Jorge Vela.
Jorge, thank you. And let's go to our chief meteorologist, Brian Hale, who's over at the Zapata boat ramp, also having his own view of the launch. Brian.
Well, it's a classic spring day here along the coast as we're mostly sunny.
Tonight, immigration is front of mind across the valley. Protests against the Trump administration and its immigration crackdown are expected tomorrow to coincide with the president's military parade in Washington, D.C. The president announced yesterday he's also considering a new executive order that could impact local farmers. We are bringing you team coverage tonight of the latest immigration upgrades. Our Jorge Vela is bringing us the latest developments from the Trump administration, and our Texas Capitol Bureau reporter has the latest on planned protests across the state. But first, we start right here in the valley. That's where we find our reporter Brian Svensson, who joins us now live outside the Benston Tower in McAllen. That's where one of the protests will be held. Brian, what are city leaders saying?
I got the chance to speak with McAllen Mayor Javier Villalobos earlier. Working for you live in McAllen, I'm Brian Svensson.
And across the state of Texas, dozens of No Kings protests are scheduled for Saturday. State Capitol reporter Adam Schwager examines how different areas in Texas are gearing up. Back here in the valley today, the Department of Justice announced charges against a woman for kicking an ICE agent during a raid in San Benito. 37-year-old Maria Isabel Cruz Salas is accused of kicking an ICE agent in the face during an operation at Taqueria El Mante in San Benito earlier this week. Cruz Salas faces up to 8 years in federal prison if convicted. She remains in federal custody.
I would say within the last 3 weeks it started to slow, but this last week or so has been huge. That's when it's like zero people wanting to come out and be exposed to being able to be picked up, whether they're legal or illegal.
Farmer Nick Billman from Donna says ICE raids have caused people to not want to go to work, leaving farmers without any help. Yesterday, President Donald Trump acknowledged his immigration policies are affecting U.S. farmers and says he's considering an executive order to help them stay afloat. Our Jorge Vela spoke to a local farmer about the change they hope to see. Jorge. Good evening, Valley, and welcome to CBS 4 News Live at 6. I'm Daisy Martinez. Thank you so much for joining us. Our top story tonight, 2 invasive worm species are causing chaos right here in the valley, leaving lawmakers, farmers, and pet owners scrambling to respond to increased reports of pests across Texas and the border. We're going to go down the wormhole with our team coverage. Our Jorge Vela is out live in McAllen with more on a worm that's already in the valley and experts say is very difficult to kill. But first, Border Report's Sandra Sanchez is standing by in studio. She spoke with U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, who was in the Rio Grande Valley today. She was here to announce a program to help stop the deadly New World screwworm from spreading north of the border. Sandra.
Daisy, the plan is to load airplanes with sterilized screwworms, fly them over Mexico, and keep the New World screwworm from crossing the border. Right now it's about 110 million per week.
All right, Sandra, very interesting information, but is there money to build that facility and how long would that take?
Well, currently there is no funding, but Republican Senator John Cornyn and Congressman Tony Gonzalez have both filed legislation that would add about $300 million towards this project. And if approved by Congress, they could get the money and it could be up and running within about 2 years. Live in the studio, Sandra Sanchez.
Sandra, thank you so much. And for more on the Secretary's plans, you can go to Border. And another invasive species making a resurgence all across the state, including right here in the Rio Grande Valley, is the hammerhead flatworm. That's really troubling. It's very hard to kill. Our Jorge Vela spoke to an expert about the worms. He joins us now live with more details on what you should do if you find one. Jorge.
They're considered snake-like, not good for the soil, and hammerhead flatworms can grow up to 15 inches long.